Alright everybody, Zoranan here. Today I'm going to be doing actually over the course of several days, probably, I am going to be doing a review on my bike. Now my bike is the Honda VTR250. The one I have is a 1989. Which is the middle year. They made them from 1988 to 1990, and they changed them a little bit every year. And actually, the first generation, which is this one, years 88 through 90, was only sold in the United States. At least the 250s. I didn't do research on the other ones, but they changed them, and most of the real noticeable changes are things like this here being like different. Like they changed the color scheme. I know in the 1990s, instead of having this triangular blue thing, they had like a squiggly that was like and was crazy shapes. This was like white, I think. They changed it. They changed the colors of the seat. Some of them had like a bright pink seat, but they were kind of wild colors, so I guess it's just what they did back around that time, 1988-ish, 1990s. This is actually only sold in the United States for the time it was made, and then they stopped production of them. And right now, they're currently making them again. I think starting in 1997, they came out with a new generation, second generation. But they kind of changed what they are. They're more like the Ducati Monster look. They've got like a sport bike look, but then a mounted headlight mounted to the forks, a single round headlight mounted to the forks. So it's got like a little bit of a Street Fighter type of look, which is cool. I like that. But they changed them to be, now they're 5-speed instead of 6-speed, and they're still 250s, but they're only sold in Asia, so they're kind of trying to be imported into Europe, and I know they're already imported into Australia. So let's go ahead and give it a ride.
So all in all, this bike's been great. It speeds up pretty quick. I feel like, it could go a little faster. Myself, I'm 145 to 150 pounds, depends. But I'm about 150 pounds, 6'1". I'm a 6'1", 150 pound guy on a 250. So really, it's not that bad of a match, I guess. I mean, the height, yeah, bad match, but I don't weigh much, so it's okay. Maybe I have more drag, I'm not sure. But I actually got this thing. I was doing a speed test, and I got a funny story I'll tell later about that. I was doing a speed test, so I got on the highway and, did a max speed test. And I was able to hit an indicated 96 miles per hour on this bike, which, to be honest, is way more than I expected. I expected about 85. Notice I say indicated. I know a lot of these bike speedometers are off. Unfortunately, I have no real way of testing that speed. Like myself, I have no way of testing to see whether I can actually go, like whether that's actually 96. Or, I have no way of seeing if my speedometer's off, and if so, by how much to adjust. So, I will just tell you the top indicated speed is actually 96 miles per hour. It redlines up to 14, no problem. I like the bike a lot. It handles pretty well. Now, this is a sport bike, so of course, if you hit dirt, grass, mud, you're screwed. I mean, I knew that going into getting this thing. It's a street bike. It's not meant to go anywhere but the street. It's good old concrete. But that being said, it does stick extremely well. It seems like it handles very well on the road. Much better than my other bike did. My other bike was so heavy, I guess. That's the difference. This thing's light. It's about 320 pounds, I believe. And I can feel the difference for sure. And my old bike weighed closer to 500, and it was a 500cc bike. This puts out a little less power, but with the weight being less, it actually ends up being about the same speed. So it's a fun little bike to drive. I definitely enjoy it a lot. That was fun. It's a fun little bike. It's got the spunk to get up. It really does. First generation was made solely, not made in the United States, but sold solely in the United States, the Interceptor line. Oh, I don't know about the whole lineup, but I know the 250s were sold in the United States, and they were only made for 3 years. That's 1988, 1989, and 1990. And out of the 3 years they made them, they did some minor changes. Mine being, I believe, the only year they did this, or maybe they stopped it only at 1990. I don't remember quite well, but I have a enclosed front disc brake. It's internal front disc, or inboard is what they call it, inboard front disc brake. And it's basically they were trying to reduce the drag you get when you're braking at high speeds and you only have one brake on one side of the wheel. It tends to pull towards the side the brake is on, or the rotor is on your wheel. So they were trying to reduce it by putting it in some kind of an inboard casing and keeping it more center to the wheel. And I'm not exactly sure how all that works, but I know it was basically, I know why they did it, and I know, I've never had to change the brake on this, but I have a feeling it's going to be a little bit more of a pain. So I'm not really looking forward to that part of it. But I know in the 1990s they switched back to single front disc brakes, and they weren't inboard, they were just regular. The paint changed on these bikes over the years, the schemes they had going on, they're all kind of crazy, wild colors. Otherwise, it's a pretty standard bike. I know a lot of bikes just look like this around that time. The Ninja 250 doesn't look a whole lot different. It looks a little bit more sleek towards the rear of the bike. The seat is a little bit more sleek. But I do like the Honda. I like the Honda for the reliability. This bike's got 27,000 miles on it, and it's gonna run for a lot more. It was well maintained the entire time it's been owned. I guess the guy who had it before me got it with 3,000 miles on it from the original owner, I assume. And he was an engineer and took care of it and rode it to work every day. That's why it's got so many miles. They're all highway. And actually, an upgrade he did do was he goes and puts a bigger tire on it to reduce the RPMs. But like I said, well maintained. Everything on this bike's running great. The only thing it probably needs about now is the carburetors are a little. I think the carbs just need to be cleaned and synced again. Because right now it's running at 2,000 RPMs, no matter where the choke is. And it may also be that my cables are just a little rusty and are getting stuck. I may have to check the cables over on this bike. Everything else seems fine. But everything seemed a little more like solid, like sturdy on my other bike than it does on this one. Maybe because, you know, the other bike was a more expensive bike in its day. I'm not sure. That's the only thing I've really noticed is that, you know, this bike overall seems like everything's a little bit more plasticky. Like there's more plastic on this than there was on my other bike. But at the same time, there's some things that are nicer, like the clutch cable feels a lot nicer. The clutch itself feels a lot nicer, and that's probably because, you know, first of all, it's a sport bike, and second of all, improvements to the overall bike design over the years, and clutch design. Like this is plastic. On my other bike, this was all metal. You know, I feel like the light on my other bike was brighter too. The light on my other bike, that round headlight, man, that was freaking bright. Having a little bit of fun there. All right. Somebody's here, I don't know why. All right, everybody. Remember, look down below the video here. If you'd like, leave a comment. Go ahead and rate the video, and if you like the rest of my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I'll put them out kind of often. And that's a review of my Honda VTR250, the first generation model. If there's anything I missed or there's anything you guys want to know, shoot me a PM, leave me a comment, and I will get back to you as soon as possible and talk about that. Thanks for watching, guys.